Chris Kläfford's audition on America's Got Talent felt less like a television moment and more like a quiet interruption in the noise of modern entertainment, the kind of interruption that makes people stop what they are doing and listen, not because they are told to, but because something honest has entered the room. The question of whether he is the best singer ever to audition for AGT is not one that can be answered by statistics, vocal ranges, or trophies alone. It is a question rooted in feeling, memory, and the strange way certain voices seem to speak directly to the parts of us we rarely show to others. To understand why so many people believe Chris Kläfford deserves that title, it helps to look not just at his performance, but at the story his voice tells and the impact it leaves behind. When Chris walked onto the AGT stage, he did not arrive with the polished image of a pop superstar or the dramatic flair often associated with talent show auditions. There was a softness to his presence, a humility that immediately set him apart. In a competition known for spectacle, costumes, and high-energy performances, he appeared almost understated. Yet that understatement became his strength. It created a sense that what mattered most was not how he looked or how loudly he could sing, but what he was about to share. From the moment he introduced himself, there was an unspoken promise that what followed would be real. As soon as he began to sing, the atmosphere shifted. His voice carried a raw, gravelly texture, the kind that feels worn in the best way, like it has lived through joy, heartbreak, and long nights of self-reflection. It was not perfect in a technical, studio-polished sense, but it was powerful in a deeper way. Each note sounded earned, as if it came from experience rather than rehearsal alone. This quality is rare, especially on a show where many contestants strive for flawless execution. Chris seemed less interested in impressing the judges and more focused on telling the truth of the song. The song choice itself played a significant role in shaping the moment. Instead of choosing a well-known powerhouse anthem designed to showcase vocal acrobatics, he selected a piece that allowed him to express emotion and vulnerability. This decision revealed a quiet confidence. He did not need to shout to be heard. He trusted that his voice, carrying its natural imperfections and emotional weight, was enough. That trust paid off, as the audience and judges alike were drawn into the world he created in just a few minutes. One of the reasons Chris Kläfford's audition stands out in AGT history is the way it made people feel. Many singers on the show are undeniably talented, some with astonishing ranges and control. Yet only a few manage to create a moment that lingers long after the performance ends. Chris did exactly that. Viewers did not simply remember that he sang well, they remembered how his voice made them feel understood, comforted, and strangely less alone. This emotional connection is often what separates great singers from unforgettable ones. The judges' reactions reflected this impact. Instead of immediate applause filled with excitement alone, there was a sense of reverence. It was as if everyone in the room understood that something special had just happened. Compliments focused not just on his voice, but on the authenticity he brought to the stage. Authenticity is a word frequently used in talent competitions, but rarely does it feel as genuine as it did in Chris's performance. He did not appear to be performing a role or chasing a moment, he was simply being himself. Comparing Chris Kläfford to other singers who have auditioned for AGT inevitably leads to debates about style, genre, and personal preference. AGT has seen opera singers with astonishing technique, young prodigies with angelic voices, and pop vocalists capable of chart-topping performances. Each of these singers brought something unique to the stage. However, what makes Chris a strong contender for the title of Best is not that he outperformed everyone technically, but that he touched something universal. His voice felt timeless, not tied to trends or eras, but rooted in human emotion. There is also something deeply compelling about Chris's personal journey. He was not an unknown beginner stepping onto a stage for the first time. He had already experienced success and disappointment, recognition and struggle. That history seemed to live inside his voice. When he sang, it sounded like someone who had been knocked down and stood back up, someone who understood both hope and doubt. This depth is difficult to fake, and audiences can sense the difference immediately. In many ways, Chris Kläfford represents a different definition of what the best means. In a world obsessed with perfection and viral moments, his performance reminded people that music is, at its core, about connection. The best singer is not always the one who hits the highest note or delivers the most dramatic climax. Sometimes, the best singer is the one who makes listeners feel seen, who reminds them of their own stories, and who turns a large, intimidating stage into something intimate. Another reason his audition resonated so strongly is the contrast between expectation and reality. Often, audiences form quick judgments based on appearance and demeanor. Chris did not walk in with an aura of obvious stardom. Yet as soon as he sang, those assumptions dissolved. This contrast made the moment even more powerful, reinforcing the idea that true talent does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes, it arrives quietly and proves itself through sincerity. The legacy of a great AGT audition is measured not just by the votes it receives, but by the conversations it sparks and the memories it creates. Years after his audition, people still return to videos of Chris Kläfford's performance, sharing them with friends and family, often with captions about how the song made them cry or gave them chills. This lasting impact is rare. Many performances shine brightly in the moment and fade quickly, but Chris's audition continues to live on, a testament to its emotional strength. It is also worth considering how his performance fits into the broader cultural landscape of music. At a time when heavily produced tracks dominate the charts, his raw, stripped-down sound felt refreshing. It reminded listeners of the power of a single voice and a simple melody. This simplicity, far from being a weakness, became his greatest asset. It allowed the emotion of the song to take center stage without distraction. Calling Chris Kläfford the best singer ever to audition for AGT is ultimately a subjective statement, shaped by personal taste and emotional response. However, there are strong reasons why so many people feel comfortable making that claim. His audition was not just about singing, it was about storytelling, vulnerability, and the courage to be genuine in front of millions. These qualities are often harder to master than technical skill alone. What makes his performance especially powerful is that it did not rely on shock or novelty. There were no dramatic twists, no unexpected gimmicks. The power came entirely from the honesty of his voice. In a competition filled with attempts to stand out, Chris stood out by doing the opposite. He trusted stillness, emotion, and simplicity. That choice required confidence and self-awareness, qualities that define truly great artists. When people debate the greatest singers in AGT history, they often mention those who achieved commercial success afterward or who delivered jaw-dropping technical feats. Chris Kläfford's legacy lies in a different space. His greatness is found in the quiet moments, in the way his voice wraps around a lyric and makes it feel personal. It is found in the silence that followed his final note, a silence filled with appreciation rather than confusion. In the end, whether or not Chris Kläfford is officially the best singer to ever audition for America's Got Talent may never be universally agreed upon. But what cannot be denied is the profound impact of his audition. He reminded audiences why music matters, why voices have the power to heal, and why authenticity still resonates in a world full of noise. For many viewers, that alone is enough to earn him the title. His audition was not just a performance, it was a moment of shared humanity. It was a reminder that behind every great voice is a story, and behind every great story is a truth waiting to be heard. In that sense, Chris Kläfford did more than audition for a talent show. He created an experience, one that continues to echo in the hearts of those who listened. And perhaps that is the truest measure of greatness, not how loudly the crowd cheers, but how deeply the song stays with you long after the stage lights fade.